To Sports Edge. Joining us now is Johnnie Bird III, a UConn basketball player. If you don't recognize him, that's okay. That's part of what you're talking about here is you were a member of the UConn basketball team, but as a walk-on, and you have written a book here called The Toughest Two about what it's like to be a walk-on specifically at UConn, but all of the hard work that goes into it and how initially, at least, it wasn't necessarily worth it for you.
Right, and it was something that I didn't plan on doing. Definitely kind of caught me off guard, but it was something that I now appreciate over with time after going through it and going through all the heartaches and ups and downs that go through with playing basketball at that level. Turned out to be a really fun deal.
So when you sat down to write this book, I'm sure you've been flooded with memories. Or what are a couple of your favorite things when you look back now at your UConn days, would you say?
Well, one thing that hit me was I didn't really care to go to UConn at the time. It was something that kind of just happened. And then once I got there and saw what it was like a new world for me. Definitely was a new world, and I felt kind of taken aback as how big, how massive the campus is. And once I got acclimated, it took a while, but after that, once I got acclimated, it was something that I truly, feel blessed to be a part of.
We're used to seeing books written by big stars, right? A book written by Charles Barkley or Michael Jordan talking about their run to this championship or this championship. Your book is completely different from that.
Right.
Talk about what makes your story a good story.
Well, normally when you think about UConn, the first thing that comes to mind is the Jim Calhouns, the stars of the team. And what people don't recognize is the people at the end of the bench. There's a good segment of people that's out there that's on every team that are walk-ons. And those guys work just as hard, if not harder, than some of the superstars that you see. But don't get any glory, no accolades. They're just there, and they're kind of background noise for the team. But they work hard, and there are some great basketball players that are on the bench for whatever their circumstances are, and I just feel like those guys definitely need some recognition. And this story talks about what it goes through. It kind of pulls back the curtains on what it is to be a walk-on at a big-time university like UConn. And
one of the things you were telling us before we started was once you kind of earn your way in, I mean, you get to see the world a little bit, and that's pretty cool. You got to go to Hawaii. Tell us about that. But
once you get past, the initial, I like to call it the probationary stages of being a walk-on at UConn, once you're initiated, you get to travel. You go to places that you would have never been. And me being from the inner city, being from Bridgeport, Connecticut, those are places I probably would have never visited a day in my life. You get to go out and play in the Battle Seattle, and you get to see what Seattle has to offer. You get to go to Maui. You get to go to the Virgin Islands. You're traveling to city to city.
I'm on. Where do I sign up?
So it's nice in that regards that you get to do these things and get to be around people, not just players, people that you would have never been around before. So that is one of the true perks of being around that.
And just to follow up on that, I mean, we cover the team. Noah's been doing it since 1997. Are they really like a rock star status when you're on the road at the Final Four?
Oh, yeah. They like to joke around that they're the Beatles of the college basketball world because you have Jim Calhoun, who's,
John Lennon.
Exactly. He's the guy that everyone knows and points to as the figurehead of it all. And then every couple years a new regime comes in, and whatever superstar you have, your A.J. Prices, your Kemba Walkers, your Marcus Williams, your Rudy Gays, your Denham Browns. I can go on and on. Ray Allen, who comes through every so often and practices with the team. You're in rare air when you're with that team.
Now, as a walk-on, I think this was something you wrote in the book. You were there to be seen, not heard, right? You were there just to go along with things. The title of your book is The Toughest Two. Tell us the significance of that.
Well, The Toughest Two really just, it conveys that how hard it is for someone in my position as a walk-on to get on the court and to score a basket.
And that was your goal?
And that was my goal. My goal coming in, I had 2 rounds of going in as a walk-on, actually. And my goal from beginning was to find what it could take to get to be on the court and to get the 2 points that everyone really helps leave their mark on.
What we want to know and what readers of this book are going to want to know, We want some inside stuff, some behind the door stuff that nobody knows.
Right. And inside this book, it has a ton of those things. And you know, one thing I'll say is that you'll find that walk-ons don't have it easy. I mean, that kind of goes without saying, but there's times where you're not even allowed in the locker room in the beginning. You know, that initiation phase is really rough.
Second-class citizen.
Yeah, you're really getting treated like a second-class citizen at first, and it's something that you know, it's going to test what kind of person you are.
You were bitter about it, right?
I definitely was bitter about it. I even quit my first go-around. I quit the team, and even at one point felt like UConn wasn't for me. That's how bad it was, and you know, you get into the state of depression and you try to overcome these things, and that's what this book is about, is to, you know, persevere in the power of your choices.
Before we wrap it up here, if you could do it all over again, would you? Definitely.
I'd do it all over again, because this book and this story has made me what I am today. It allows me to you know, persevere, and allows me to overcome adversity in all facets of life. When you graduate, you got to find a job, you got to live life. You know, the real world hits you like a ton of bricks. So I would do it all over again, because it definitely has helped me, and I hope that this book can help others.
I want to know, as a second-class citizen, what players treated you the best, and tell me a player who treated you the worst as a walk-on.
I remember one time I walked in the gym, and Denham Brown came in, and he's already a kind of a stoic character. He's kind of stone-faced. And one time I'm walking in, and I didn't know who he was, to be honest with you, because I didn't follow UConn, believe it or not, at the time. And he kind of just brushed past me, and you know, no sorries, no nothing, kind of knocked me out. I was like, oh, you know, I was ready to, you know, charge at him. And then being at UConn and being a walk-on, you kind of got to know your place. And it took me a while to know that. As far as who treated me the best, there are a ton of guys. You know, I still keep in contact with a couple of them, and they, for the most part, they were good. You know, they treated you as a human being, and that kind of helped me stay motivated.
Was there one that stands out?
One of my good friends is AJ Price. He definitely saw in me what I saw in me, as far as, because I was going against him every day. And
he had a rocky road at UConn for a while.
Yeah.
He could sympathize with what I was going through, and he definitely reached out sometimes and you know, said stick with it and keep going. And Kemba too. Kemba definitely was a great guy to be with, and he never was treating me as if I was beneath him or anything like that.
Well, the book is called The Toughest Two, Johnnie Bird III. It's a book about perseverance and getting through as a second-class citizen and making the best of it. Check it out. It's self-published. You can get it on Amazon.
You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and you can check it out at johnniebird3.com.
All right. We'll be back.